about the ADIC. I'm going to present our guests, Mikko and Janne, and then I'm going to ask them some questions. He fet aquesta introducció breu, em sembla que no cal traduir gaire. Mikko Kärnä és un exdiputat del districte de Laponia, Finlàndia, and Janne Riitakorpi has worked with the Public Diplomacy Council of Catalonia, better known as Diplocat. He's been an international observer at 3 general elections, including the 2015 Catalan election.
Hola, bon dia a tothom. Em dic Sono parlo bé el català, però una mica. Thank you for inviting us, and thank you for the ADIC for the work that you're doing. It's of course very important not to normalize the exceptional situation.
During the last years, when we were under the Russian Empire as an autonomous area, they invoked their own Article 155 in Finland. It is very easy to relate to the situation here in Catalonia, because we are a young state, 100 years only of independence, and we had the same under the Russian rule. Finland, of course, it's a decentralized country, but in my opinion it should be even more.
There is a very small independence movement in the Åland Islands, but it's very small. A huge majority of the Åland Island people is very happy with the autonomy that Finland has given them, and well, a lot of Spaniards sometimes ask that, or unionists, that Finland would not let the Åland Islands become independent, but I think if there would be a significant independence movement in the Åland Islands, in the Åland Parliament, for example, the Finnish central government would talk with them and find a solution.
About the rights of the Sami, many people have asked me that can you compare the situation of the Sami to situation in Catalonia, and the answer is no. There are about 50,000 to 100,000 Sami in total in all the Nordic countries and in Russia. And the Sami in Nordic countries, they have been recognized as the indigenous people of the country.
Janne, you actually worked with Diplocat. Can you tell us a little bit what that was like, and how you felt when Diplocat was suddenly, and only partly legally, dissolved by Madrid?
Yeah, I worked for 4 months in the Public Diplomacy Council of Catalonia last autumn. As an intern, I actually studied politics in Finland, and I was doing an internship in Diplocat, and it was a very professional experience. And the team in Diplocat, it was very small, but they did a very good job. It was a pleasure to be part of the team led by Mr. Albert Royo, and we organized a lot of things. For example, the international observation missions to the referendum, invited a lot of European parliamentarians to observe the election, and of course they saw at first hand what Spain did on the day of the referendum. So the first part of my experience was very professional, and the good work that Diplocat was able to do in the front of the internationalization of the conflict. And of course the other experience was the Article 155 at first hand, because Diplocat was also shut down right after the 27th of October. So we had to stop working, and there wasn't a lot to do in the last couple of months of November and December that I was here. But I was here in Catalonia until Christmas, and saw everything that happened in the day of the referendum.
Okay. La pregunta era en general sobre la seva experiència de Diplocat. El Janne ha dit que era una experiència molt positiva, era un equip molt petit, treballaven en un equip molt petit, però molt eficaç, que van fer moltes coses per la internacionalització de Catalunya, de la situació de Catalunya, del moviment independentista de Catalunya.
You're taking selfies, bro.
Our constitution also, it says that Finland is an indivisible country without the parliament's division, but even every municipality has the right to hold a referendum about anything. There are no illegal questions in Finland, and that is the thing here. Spain is saying that you have illegal questions, and you cannot do like that in a working democracy. You should be able to vote about anything. So when I was working as a mayor in the municipality of Enontekiö, which is located in the borders of Sweden and Norway, if our city council decided that yes, we will have a referendum, should Enontekiö join Norway? Yes, we would hold the referendum, we would vote, and then depending on the result, we would negotiate with the central government.
He already said that he will not talk about the right to self-determination, he will not talk about the referendum. And of course that's something that needs to be part of the solution if the solution is someday found. And of course the situation will never normalize as long as there are political prisoners and the democratically elected government illegally dissolved from office and half of them in exile and half of them in prison. And it will never normalize until that is solved. In terms of the independence movement, it's probably going to be a long road ahead, but I'm quite optimistic that Catalonia will be independent.
The European Union has been saying, especially behind the scenes, that Sanchez should now try to normalize things in Catalonia and go back to something that was before, and I think it is totally impossible. The independence movement, it is growing. And the ball is rolling all the time. Like Janne said, the independence, it will not happen tomorrow. I do not know the time frame, but I am absolutely 100% convinced that Catalonia will be an independent state during my lifetime.
There's a lot of talk about the possibility of a constitutional change in Spain or a new, more autonomy for Catalonia or fiscal pact proposed. Of course, if Spain would propose something like this, I'm sure the Catalan government would be willing to talk. But there is not a single proposal from Spain for the conflict. Some outside observers have been saying that maybe a constitutional change or something like that. But Spain has proposed nothing. Spain has no project for Catalonia, and also it's like the failure of the autonomy, the failure of the fiscal pact. That's the reason, the cause of this conflict, rather than the solution. I think the right to self-determination needs to be part of the solution.
Could Finland somehow help to mediate the situation between Spain and actually our former Prime Minister Matti Vanhanen agreed that he would be willing to be a mediator and to form an international team, but you have to have two sides to mediate something. So basically Spain is saying that it does not have a problem in Catalonia, it doesn't have to mediate. So how can you do it? It's impossible.
Yeah, I can understand very well the frustration or the disappointment from the international reaction, or the lack of international support, or the lack of support from the European institutions. And it doesn't even need to be support, just the condemnation of the Spanish police violence, for example. But what you could do, of course, it's you should write to foreign leaders. You should hold international events with these assemblies and associations and everything that is organized, and try to talk to international people, always politely explaining what the cause of the movement is. It's the fact that it's always been peaceful, and it's democratic. There is the democratic majority in the parliament. It has been for several years there in favor of independence. It's been a long process. It didn't happen overnight. Some people abroad who hadn't followed Catalan politics were perhaps a little bit surprised at all the unilateral things that happened last autumn. You have to explain them that it has been a long process. It didn't happen overnight, and Catalans have been really patient about this. And It was only after Spain had rejected it 18 times that they held it. You held it unilaterally.
I come from a municipality with 2,000 inhabitants. 2,000. And every day in Twitter I am able to reach 2 million people through Twitter. And the internationalization of the Catalan process, I think it will be the key for your independence and how to do it in a peaceful and a civic manner, which is the reason I love Catalan independence movement, because you're really doing it peacefully and by a belief to democracy.
There is reports that on the day of the referendum, the reason why Spanish police did not continue to beat voters up until the evening and try to, for example, prevent the counting of the votes was because Mrs. Merkel phoned Rajoy during the day and said that this is not okay. So it's sad that it requires violence for police violence for Mrs. Merkel to call Rajoy and say that this is not okay. And maybe at some point, if this problem continues, there will be another escalation, and then Europe needs to intervene more strongly. It was not enough, and of course it's on the hands of the Spanish government or the prosecutors to drop the charges. And we all know that the charges are ridiculous, and all the international extradition processes, they will not extradite Mrs. Monsati from Scotland or Mr. Puigdemont from Germany. Belgium has already decided not to extradite the ministers, and in Switzerland the process has not even started.
So it's through this international pressure that in the end it will become intolerable for Spain. And I am putting my faith also to Amnesty International at the moment. Amnesty has said that Spain has serious problems with the freedom of speech, which is of course true. Is amazing thing, and really makes me really sad that in the European Union we have a country which has last year imprisoned more artists than China or Iran. Spain is top one in this list. It's unbelievable. And Amnesty has not yet said clearly, it has written that there are some people who are in prison for political reasons, but it has not said that there are political prisoners in Spain. But the day the Amnesty International does that, it's a huge thing for the whole European Union.
Incloent les subvencions. Per tant, diu, aquesta pot ser una manera, a través de l'Amnistia Internacional, Human Rights Watch, una manera d'accelerar el procés internacional, la pressió internacional contra Madrid. Ostres, hem d'acabar.
Catalonia!